Hello and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Knits. This is going to hopefully be a quick episode. I just wanted to say hello and check in to see how everyone was doing. What are you working on this week? What are you most excited to cast on your needles? Were you able to finish any of your projects from 2025 that you had to bring into 2026? For me, I would love to share with you about a couple of things that I'm working on. Number one, I'm working on my sanity. There are some moments in life where you kind of go with it, and one of my favorite memes I've been seeing recently on social media is just around like, with everything on fire in the world, in the country, etc., you still have to stay home to take care of sick kids. You still have to bring kids to orthodontist appointments or make your own appointment or wash your hair or do their hair. Like, there's so many other things that you still have to prioritize in order to maintain that daily function. And it's hard to jump online to talk about what to many might feel really trivia. And so for me, I am sharing updates about my projects and my joy and excitement about various things I'm crafting, because I too need a break. Even though I am a social science teacher, I still need to take moments to take care of my mental health. And I find that crafting is one of the number one tools to that success. So with that said, please join me in sharing with you that has helped me keep my sanity for the past couple of weeks, or maybe even added to it if I'm being truthful. So number one, I am still working on my sister-in-law's Flores top. And I've always wanted to make a fingering weight sweater or top. I've been saying that for a very long time since I've started knitting. I found it very fascinating, people who have been able to use 3mm or 3.25mm, so on and so forth, to make a full-size garment. So this is my first time doing a full-size garment in a texture stitch using a 3.5mm needle. And last night I finally broke for sleeves. And it's starting to hit me like, oh, this is going to take much longer. And at first I thought it was me, but then I went on to the project page and saw that others who have made the sweater have to spend about 6 weeks. It looks like it's about a 6-week project. And I definitely can see myself. So although my aspiration is to finish this beautiful top by the end of this month, I don't think that's going to happen, which is perfectly okay. It is a very engaging and easy to memorize pattern. The short roll shaping definitely gives it a very polished look. I really am enjoying the use of the yarn for this particular project, which was purchased from Pick Up Every Stitch. Let's see if I have a yarn label. I think I do. I'm using this in my original Sola bag that I picked up from a yarn store in St. Johnsbury, Vermont. It is one of my favorite project bags, which is the reason why it looks a little beat up, because it's been everywhere. Everywhere. But anywho, back to the story of the Flores sweater. So I'm currently using this wool that was purchased by my sister-in-law. It's fingering weight. It's called Corella yarn. It's 100% merino. I don't think it's superwash. It's supposed to be extra 5 with a 19.5 micron, and I would definitely agree with that. There's one thing I've noticed, that it's much thicker at the top and it's a little thinner. And at first I thought maybe she purchased like a DK weight and a fingering weight, but I don't think that's the case. I just think it's just the way it was spun. But there is a slight texture variation between the top yarn and the bottom yarn. In addition, this particular skein had 436 yards, and it looks like this was $31.20. So not too bad for a hand-dyed yarn. And it's a beautiful golden yellow color. Like, it reminds me of an egg yolk, or what we all envision the sun to look like. So I really love it. I love the little speckles of green and black and orange. And so she's very lucky that she found this yarn. So I'm on skein number 2. I still have 2 more skeins left that I can use if I need to. But the way that the pattern is structured, it doesn't look like I will need to do much, because I only have about 5 inches left to do on the body, and then I'm done. And that includes the ribbing. So all in all, really pleased with this. But yeah, this is probably not going to be finished until early February, which is okay. If I can get it done earlier, that is awesome because there's another project that I've recently cast on or recast on again. So I've been going back and forth with myself about the rosy sweater. I absolutely love it. I saw so many different versions of the rosy sweater on Ravelry that really made me feel inspired to move forward with it. And then what I also really liked about it, I felt like it was a really great beginner friendly pattern for someone who is an adventurous beginner slash intermediate who's done color work in the past. So I haven't had a chance to do an all over color work sweater. That is definitely an aspiration of mine, but I want to get better at my tensioning before I move into a full garment that is all over color work where it's on the full body and the sleeves. So far, my color work has only been on the top yoke. Sometimes I will have color work in the near the bottom towards the hem, as well as on the sleeves, like with my ooey gooey. So for this particular pattern in itself, I do like the fact that it's just straight stockinette that kind of gives you a chance to get comfortable and acquainted with the yarn. So one of the reasons why there's been some issues with this, that I ended up frogging this project. I had initially intended to use Neighborhood Fibers luxury sport weight yarn. It's absolutely beautiful. Let's see if I have a skein of it nearby. I think I do. Yes. And so this is one of the skeins. It's a Capital Luxury Sport. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% silk. I love this yarn so much. I made a beautiful pink ranunculus that I accidentally put in a dryer, which is still one of the worst moments of my entire knitting career. So I was very excited that I was not only able to find a project using that yarn, but also find enough in order to do it in a quantity. But for whatever reason, I just really didn't like the contrasting color I had selected, and I really wasn't feeling it. Plus, I wasn't on the gauge that I wanted. Like I was on pattern gauge, but I didn't think it was going to fit me in the way I had envisioned it. So I frogged that, and I just been sitting thinking about what am I going to knit. I've been going all around my yarn room, looking online. I even consider buying a large quantity of the Cardiff cashmere as well because I watched a podcast vlog where this knitter was talking about her experience making the rosy sweater and using Cardiff cashmere and how much she absolutely loves it and how frequently she's wearing it. So I felt really inspired again to the point I was going to buy it. But then for me, if I'm going to spend a significant amount of money on yarn, I really would like to see it in person. And what I've had trouble with, I have yet to see a yarn store near me that carries Cardiff cashmere. So that way I can look at the color and make a clear determination that yes, this is the color I want to use, because the online photos doesn't always give us that exact image of the yarn color that we're getting. I'm trying to see, I don't have anything that is an example. So anyway, after going back and forth with myself, I wanted something lightweight. That was one of the reasons why I was leaning towards the sport weight version of this, because I definitely wanted a lightweight colorwork sweater, is I noticed that my super woolly colorwork sweaters, that I don't wear them as often, and mind you only have two, it's because it feels a little uncomfortable. So I decided to deep dash, and I found some DK weight yarn, because that's the gauge you're supposed to get with the pattern. And so I found some drop sky that I personally feel it's a good gauge between DK and worsted, and it calls for a 4mm needle, and you get about 21 stitches to 28 rows. And for the pattern, I think the pattern's like 18 stitches. You have to check the Ravelry page. I don't recall at the top of my head. I will make sure I put the link in this description. So I have this in my collection. I've had this for a long time. It's very soft. And since I plan to wear this as a high collar, either with a form of a fake turtleneck or a crew neck, it's going to be touching my neck either way. I wanted to make sure that I used a wool that I wouldn't constantly be pulling away from my neck because it's making it itch. So I selected this as my main color. And a friend of mine who was in Germany with her students sent me this yarn. And so this is a beautiful, it's by Wool Addicts by Lane Yarns. I'm trying to see if I can find the colorway. It looks like it's just a color number, which is 85. But this is 50 grams. I absolutely love it. It's so super delicious. And it's another super wash merino with 12% polynate, which is almost identical to the makeup of Drop Sky. So I'm like, this is perfect. The two colors will look amazing. It will look wonderful on my skin tone. So in the end of the day, I decided to go with this for this particular project. And then I went ahead and cast on, and I got so into it that I ended up finishing the short row section. So not a lot to show, but enough where I feel motivated to continue working with it, because I did my gauge. I'm one stitch off from the gauge, if I remember correctly, for my notes last night. So, and with the knitting needles I'm using my Knit Picks. I want to say this is Knit Picks Dreams. And one of the things I must share about this is a 4mm US 6 needle. I purchased this about, I guess, going on 4 years now, from not Pick Up Every Stitch. I picked it up from a yarn store in Cambridge called Gathered Here. And I was just having one of those days. It was in the beginning of our return back to work after the lockdown from COVID. And there was just a lot of things happening personally and professionally for me. And I had so much on my mind and I didn't know how to process. So I ended up knitting the April cardigan, and I purchased those knitting needles. And I find that every time I use those knitting needles, a beautiful garment comes off of my needles, unexpected, unintentional, and it always warms my heart and calms my spirit. So I am excited that this is doing that, because when I was watching the news last night, I was definitely feeling some anxiety, because I'm teaching AP Government in politics this semester, and I really want to make sure I do it in such a way where students recognize that there's always going to be conflicting political ideology. No one's going to ever have the same idea about every single thing. We all have different ways of approaching certain situations. Excuse me. However, there's an instance where you need to have to think about the morality, and I feel like we've moved away from that as a society. Anywho, I don't want to get all preachy with that, but that was what was on my mind when I was casting it on, and I really remember feeling less heavy when I went to bed last night. So there's that. In addition to casting on or recasting on the Rosie sweater, I also finally made a new plan for my zipper sweater. It's a petite knit pattern that I've been thinking about and desiring to knit for a very long time. I actually made significant progress on it, but then this happened. Do you see it? I don't even want to bring it closer. So I got this brilliant idea, again, where I don't know, but I wanted a black zipper sweater because I wanted something that I knew was going to be a little bit more universal. I wasn't really feeling the colorway that I was using, and although I liked it, it was beautiful yarn, I was like, I'm not quite really sure. And so I got this idea. I'm like, I dyed yarn before, let me see if I can dye this. And at 10 o'clock at night, I went into my kitchen while everyone was asleep and decided to dye yarn. And let's just say, did not come out very well. My floor is now stained, and yeah, it was just a hot mess. So I realized that I still want a black zipper sweater, because the reality is I would use it so much more so than the camel color. And with that one, I might knit it into something or crochet it. Who knows what it'll go into. It has some interesting colorways to it. I might just clean it up and maybe someone else can find a beautiful home for it. But it's one of those Barocco 100% undyed alpaca. Is now dyed. So I found this in my collection about a year and a half ago when I was reorganizing my yarn room, and I just stacked it against the bookshelf and not really thought about it. I don't know what brand of yarn this is. I don't know the colorway, but it looks like I have 4, 6, 7 skeins of this. Although this doesn't look to be a full 100 grams, so I would have to weight it. But I found this, and I thought that this would be an excellent compromise to my desire to have a black zipper sweater, because I don't want it to be to the point where, you know how sometimes with some black yarn, it's not the exact same color, that when you hold it into the sun, you can see some variation in it. And so I figured that this comes off this dark slate gray, and that if I hold it with mohair, that it's going to give it that darker tone that I'm looking for. But on the days when I don't want it to be ultra black, it will have these little gray elements to it. So I think that this is a fair compromise, because I love the color gray and I love wearing the color black. So bam, I figure that this will hit it for me. And I'm holding it with kid silk mohair, as well as some other random mohair I found in my collection. I have some of my shibui left over as well. So I'm just literally grabbing all the black mohair that I have in my collection, rather than trying to pare it down by the dye lot, because I kind of want the variation. I'm curious about what that's going to look like. I've done that before in the past, and I thought it was really cool. And so I want to try it again. So my zipper sweater, I have a plan for it. It's living in my yarn and whiskey bag. And so now I just need to have a weekend where I can sit and cast it on and make some progress. I'm hoping that I will have some time this upcoming weekend. My son has a haircut appointment. I have a haircut appointment. My husband does. There's another appointment I think we have this weekend. I can't quite remember the details for it. I got to look at my planner, but it's life, right? The next project I wanted to share with you that is recently put on to the hook is the Imagination blanket. It is living in my color purple bag that I purchased at Barnes & Noble on those random days I should not have been there. And so I love the Imagination blanket because it gives me a chance to practice my skill as a crocheter, and the mattress stitch, which is something I need to work on, because initially I was like, I don't want to do this because you have to do the mattress stitch. But actually, I'm glad, because it really is a technique I want to get better at, because there is a pattern by Kim Hargraves I've been thinking about since I purchased the book 4 years ago, and I really want to knit it, but it will require me to do a mattress stitch, and it's not my best technique. So I figure if I can learn how to do it with this blanket, that by the time I finish the blanket, I will be much more skilled at it. So I started this on Sunday. I would want to say it was Sunday. It was one of those random nights. It was snowing, and I was sitting with my husband, and he wanted to play video games with our son, so he can prove that he was really good at soccer, whatnot. I don't know. They were having a debate about something. And so I figured, I'm like, you know what? I got 20 minutes, because their attention span is very short. And the idea of them spending more than 20 minutes playing video games is quite comical, because they literally will pay for 20 minutes and they get distracted and do something else. It's very entertaining for me. But anyway, I digress. So I'm like, I got 20 minutes. So it's a perfect time to read or start a new pattern. And I love to crochet on Sundays. Like, Sundays are my favorite days to sit and crochet. So I decided to see if I still know how to make a granny square, because it's been a very long time. So I want to see if I can find my first granny square. Okay, here's my first one. It came out really good. You do a whole bunch of granny squares, and then you put them together in the quilted pattern design. I had a little trouble with this one. It did not come out the way I usually do my triangle half and half. But my next one came out a little bit less wonky, except for on this side here. It looks like I added too many stitches, but that's okay. But this one, then I finally got the hang of it. So I finally got the hang of it there. The yarn I'm using for this pattern is a variety. So I purchased from Sorella Yarns. I really love her yarn store. I love her newsletter. I love her wool dye. Like, I love Sorella Yarns, and I try to support them each year. I try to buy a sweater quantity of yarn from them. The yarn, it can be a little expensive, which is why I can't buy from them in the same frequency, but once a year since I've started this crafting experience, or really getting into crafting for the last 5 years, I have been purchasing for them. And the most recent purchase I had made was the collection of her Sorella Home yarn. So with the Sorella Home yarn, it's 80% superwash superwash merino, and 20% of cashmere style nylon. What that means, I don't know. But I do know that for every 100 grams, you get 212 yards. This works up as a DK, which you're recommended to use a 4.5 millimeter knitting needle or a 5 millimeter crochet hook. So I started out using a 5 millimeter crochet hook, and didn't really it just wasn't the right size. You needed to do a specific size square, and I was over by an inch. So I went down to a size 3.5, and I didn't like that because it was splitting the wool, because it definitely is not compatible with this yarn. And so then I went up to a 4 millimeter, and we are finally in business. Did I go up to a 4 millimeter? Yeah. So this is it. Here we go. So the crochet hook I'm using is Prims. This is actually, so there's two brands I absolutely love. Tulip and Prims. I love Prims because it's very lightweight and I find that my stitches do excellent, especially with slippery yarn. I can navigate through that fairly well. And given the fact that I'm doing this particular pattern, it can be a little tricky and I'm a little out of practice, so this is the better tool. However, I do use my Tulip. I love this yarn, this crochet hook, excuse me. I definitely am much faster with the metal to it. And what I love about it is that whatever coating that they use, it allows for, it's not as a slippery experience. And I definitely feel much more control over it. But I can't find my 4mm in Tulip. I know I have it, but I looked everywhere and I have no idea what I did with it. So I'm just going to use my Prims for this as well. And I'm going to continue to crochet up squares, and I'm just grabbing random skeins of yarn for it. Looks like for the quilted square I'm doing right now, I would need 4 colors. So I went through my yarn little bag of little yarn leftovers, and I decided to pair these two together, which looks absolutely amazing. I did not expect it to look that great. This is some leftover Sorella yarn. This is yarn I purchased from Temu, and I was like, oh, let's see what it looks like, and it looks great. And I think with these three, I'm going to have a really unique and colorful granny square. So a quilted square, I should say. So I really am excited about that. So I'm almost finished with the first quilted square, as well as my goal is to finish crocheting the squares this weekend, and then do my first quilted square, and then just keep moving on and do it square by square. And then once I have all the squares, then I will follow the directions of putting the whole body together. I grabbed a random wool, not wool. I grabbed a random leftover skein of yarn. This is from my American U. I figure I can also pair this with the project too. So all in all, really am excited that I have this on my hooks, and that I finally found a really beautiful project to use the Sorella yarn with. I won't be able to I know I will be able to wash it, and it might have a little bit of felting because of cashmere in it, but hopefully there's enough where it won't get too felted. But if it is, it's okay. I'm just intending it to make it as a beautiful throw for me to have, because we love blankets in this house. And that is it. Those are all of my current projects that I'm working on at home. I obviously will have my work project. I'm working on my pair of mittens as well as a hat. I plan to tell you more about both of those projects in my next video, so stay tuned for that. But just note that I am doing my first colorwork mittens, and I am so excited. It is really engaging, so much in fact where I literally made myself, I had to do some like extra work in order to get ready for this new semester. I was like, okay, if I work 4 hours, then I can give myself 2 hours of knitting time. Like I was negotiating with myself about how much time I'm going to give myself to knit, because I still want to finish my sister-in-law's top as well, but it's moving a little slow. I don't know, for some reason it's not going as fast as it was in the beginning of it as well, but I'm going to keep trucking on. What I love so much about that pattern, that I know it by heart, so I don't really need to look at it. So I might bring this to work as well too, so I can have that to work on during those longer meetings. But anywho, that is it as far as what's on my needles. I have another vlog almost done, where I am sharing with you about some fractal spinning. I am still absolutely in love with spinning. I also hope to share with you some updates about my sewing as well. I had a little mishap with the sewing machine, so I'm a little nervous about using it again. I'm hoping my niece can come over and show me how to fix the problem that I am making. And then finally, before I say goodbye, I just wanted to show you that yes, when I say I've been spinning, I've been spinning. I did 5 bobbins of wool. It's coming out absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to share with you some updates on that as well. But just note that I have been spinning away, and I cannot wait to do some more spinning too. Usually in the month of February to celebrate Black History Month. Obviously, I teach various different things in my classroom, but I also like to do more to support small businesses owned by people of color as well. And so I know I'm going to be I'm using my gift card that I got from one of my students as a thank you. I'm going to use that to buy myself some more wool from Neighborhood Fiber because the wool that they have is absolutely amazing. And I've have so many ideas and plans and I want to do, and I just need more hands and some more time in order to do all this crafting. But unfortunately, I don't have that. So with that said, I am going to bid you a farewell, and I sincerely hope that you are finding ways to release any stress or frustration or concerns that you may have about what's going on in the world or what's going on with yourself personally and professionally. In addition, I hope that you are enjoying the heck out of your knitting needles, crochet hook, or sewing, whatever it is that's part of your crafting journey as well. Thank you so much for checking in with me and hearing about my updates, and I look forward to catching you up on the next one. Goodbye for now.